I ended things when my girlfriend insisted on staying a virgin until marriage, only to learn during our break that she'd slept with someone else. Now she's begging me to take her back, claiming she's changed, but how can I trust a promise she didn't keep when it mattered most? I'm a 23-year-old guy, and I met my ex-girlfriend, she's 21, 3 years ago when we were both living on campus in different dorms at university. A few months in, we started dating, and overall, we had a happy relationship. But there was always one major issue. She grew up in a very religious household. Her dad's a pastor. She told her family she no longer shares their beliefs. They weren't thrilled about it, but they accepted her choice. Still, I think some of that religious influence stayed with her. I was raised in a different faith, but never took it seriously, and now I don't consider myself religious at all. Our relationship felt normal, except for one thing. Early on, she told me she was a virgin and wanted to stay that way until marriage. It wasn't because of her religion anymore, but she didn't want to disappoint her dad. We did other sexual things, just never had intercourse. I didn't have much experience with girls growing up, so when we got together, I was still a virgin, and I still am, if you define it by intercourse. Over time, I started to feel bitter. Everyone around me was in normal sexual relationships, and I just couldn't understand why we weren't. I never pressured her, but deep down I was frustrated. I felt like marriage was something far off, especially while I was still a broke college student. Last year was my final year at university, and she had already graduated and was working full-time. Her program was shorter, so even though she's younger, she finished first. She started talking about all these successful guys at her job, which made me feel insecure, still being in school and broke. Combined with the lack of a full sexual relationship, that insecurity started to build resentment. Eventually, the tension led to fights, and I realized we were headed in different directions. I decided to end it, even though it was heartbreaking. She cried a lot, and I felt terrible about it. It's been almost 6 months since we broke up, and we hadn't talked at all during that time. I've stayed single, focused on graduating. Now that I've finished university and am about to start my first real job, she reached out again and asked to meet. I was hesitant, but felt like our history deserved a conversation. She told me she's missed me deeply over the past 6 months and wants to try again. She also said she's now open to having a sexual relationship. I asked her what changed, and she looked uncomfortable. After some pressure, she admitted she'd had a brief fling with one of the older guys from her job during our breakup. She said it was consensual, but that he was very persistent in pursuing sex with her. Honestly, I was devastated. I couldn't understand why she waited all those years with me, but gave in so quickly to someone new. I asked if the only reason she was open to sex now was because she wasn't a virgin anymore, and she said yes. I told her I needed time to process everything. I'm torn. I still care about her and miss her a lot, but part of me feels used, like I was strung along for years. Logically, getting back together makes sense, especially now that the physical part of the relationship wouldn't be an issue. But emotionally, something doesn't feel right, and I don't want to ignore that feeling. Some comments are really harsh on my ex, and I get it. It's easy to judge from the outside, but she's not a villain. She's still the funny, smart, beautiful person I fell for. Any guy would be lucky to be with her, and I would be too, if I could handle the emotional baggage. But I don't think I can. A clean break might be the healthiest thing. Even if she regrets sleeping with the other guy, that's her business. We were broken up. I honestly didn't expect to hear from her again, so this whole situation really caught me off guard. I think what's hurting me most is how much it's bruised my ego. I feel like I wasn't enough. I know that's something I need to work through on my own. This relationship left me with some emotional baggage around sex that I need to unpack. A few people have suggested therapy, and I think they're right. I'm going to look into it because I need help sorting all of this out. Relevant comment. Why was she willing to sleep with that guy after such a short time, but not with you after 3 years? My response. That's the question I keep asking myself. Her only explanation was that he was persistent. I'm still debating whether to send her a message saying I don't want to get back together, or to ask more questions, even though I'm not sure I'm ready to hear the answers. Sometimes I wonder if there's something wrong with me. A few commenters said I'm immature, and maybe they're right. I know I'm the one who ended things, and she had every right to be with someone else. But knowing that doesn't make it hurt any less. Maybe it really is time to say goodbye for good and move on. Update 1 hi again. I'm really grateful for all the comments on my last post. Over 2,000. I didn't expect that kind of response, but thank you. Just a heads up, this is going to be a long post. I've kept a journal since I was 16, and what I'm about to share is taken straight from that. I know I ramble a bit, so bear with me. I'll call my ex Selly, not her real name, for clarity. A lot of people said the same thing. Move on. A clean break. And honestly, that advice makes a lot of sense. A smaller group encouraged giving her another chance. Some call me an asshole for ending it because I wanted sex or for being fixated on her virginity. I broke up with her because we weren't having sex, and now some people are saying that decision made her feel like she had to sleep with a guy to keep him. A few even said I pushed her into the next guy's bed because of it. There were some she's pregnant, rumors too, not that I know of. It's not impossible, but if she is, that's got nothing to do with me. And to the people saying I should have just slept with her and left, what's wrong with you? Seriously, some of you need a hug, or therapy. I would never use her like that, no matter how things ended between us. Ellie and I were together for years. That history means something. Just because we broke up doesn't mean I treat her like she's disposable. To clear things up, no, I didn't have some weird obsession with taking her virginity. My problem wasn't that she was a virgin. It was that we weren't having sex at all in our relationship. If she hadn't been a virgin and still wanted to wait, I'd be in the same spot. Her being abstinent was her choice, and I respected that. But let's be honest, for 3 years, Ellie got everything she wanted from me. Love, loyalty, support, and a boyfriend who respected her decision to wait. Meanwhile, I had to ignore a major part of what I need in a relationship. And that wasn't going to change. Looking back, I should have ended things when she first told me she was waiting until marriage. But I was 19, had never been in a relationship before, and I really liked her. I went along with it because I thought our connection made it worth it. I fell in love and stayed in a relationship that didn't actually work for me. I've learned from that. I want to make active choices in future relationships, not just go along with what someone else wants because I'm afraid of hurting them. Ellie and I didn't want the same things, and instead of waiting for her to change, I finally chose to walk away. It took me way too long to get there because I didn't want to hurt her, but I had to think about myself too. My biggest regret is not ending things sooner. Maybe it would have saved her some pain. A lot of you said sex isn't that important. And hey, for some people that's true. No judgment. But for me, it matters. Especially in a romantic relationship. That's just how I'm wired. Some people took issue with me saying I felt she strung me along. Fair enough. In hindsight, Ellie was always honest about waiting until marriage. I stayed way too long, hoping she'd change her mind. She didn't. That's on me. I strung myself along. She didn't mislead me. It did sting to find out she slept with the next guy not long after we broke up. I waited for years, and then she took that step quickly with someone else. But she's my ex now, and she can do what she wants. I don't have a say anymore. She's allowed to change her mind. It's her body, her choice. My reaction is emotional, not logical. Logically, I know she didn't do anything wrong. I'll get over it. Honestly, it's just my ego feeling bruised. Part of me feels like less of a man because she moved on like that, but I know that's not really true. I wasn't a perfect boyfriend. I made mistakes, but I've learned. I still think breaking up with Ellie was the right call. Now, on to what's happened since. Last weekend was the Australia Day long weekend. I went camping in the Grampians. For the Aussies out there, you know how good it is to be out in nature. I hiked with some friends, cleared my head, and finally talked about everything with Ellie around the campfire. Most of them knew her from our time together, and they had mixed opinions, just like the comments on my post. I got the usual teasing about still being a virgin. Apparently, they've got a pricey bottle of scotch they're saving for when that changes. Jerks, but I love them. One of my friends asked a great question. If Ellie hadn't reached out to me first, would I have reached out to her? The answer was a clear no. That helped me realize I was being way too passive. I needed to do what I wanted, not just react to what Ellie wanted. By the time I was heading home, I decided I wasn't getting back together with her. But that didn't matter anymore. Once I got mobile signal again, a bunch of texts came through from Ellie. She said she was wrong to ask me to take her back, and that she's back with Tim. She also admitted their relationship was more serious than she let on when we met up last time. She apologized for misleading me about that. If you remember, she called it just a fling. Then she asked if we could meet to talk. I was pissed. I just replied, no, not exactly mature, I know, but I wasn't in the mood for more drama. I was shocked she lied. That's not like her. She tried calling, but I didn't answer. Later, she sent another text. Tim and I had a fight. I shouldn't have come to you. I'm sorry. When I got home, curiosity got the better of me. I looked up Tim. His real name's unusual, so it wasn't hard. I found his LinkedIn. He's one of Ellie's connections, works at the same firm, and he's a director, just below partner. His Instagram is full of pictures, traveling the world, fancy events, exotic spots, an expensive-looking car. There were even pics of him with Ellie, arm in arm, in Singapore last November. So yeah, it was serious. No way he'd post public photos like that if it were just a fling. All of that just made me feel worse. Comparing myself to her successful new boyfriend was pointless, but I did it anyway. Ellie's not my girlfriend, and I'm not competing with Tim. I won't do that again. My ego's taken enough hits. I've been living super frugally during college, basically broke. So yeah, I get that I feel insecure when I see people with money. That's a me issue, something I've got to work through. Anyway, all of that happened on Sunday. On Tuesday night, Ellie knocked on my door. She said she knew I didn't want to talk, but she felt awful and hoped I'd let her explain. And she promised I'd never have to see her again if I didn't want to. I let her in. I was still upset about everything, but I figured I might at least get some clarity. We talked for 4 hours. It was a long, emotional conversation. But here's the main part one remember. She was heartbroken. She said it took a couple of months before she even started to feel a little better. She missed me constantly and wanted to see me the whole time. But when we broke up, we agreed to keep our distance and focus on healing. In September, she met Tim at work. He manages a different team, so she doesn't report to him directly. She said he was charming, attractive, and showed interest in her right away. They started talking more, and eventually he asked her out. She was worried it might be a rebound, but admitted that getting his attention made her feel a lot better, so she went with it. After some time, she developed real feelings for him, which led to a sexual relationship. It wasn't just a hookup. They had been dating for a while before anything happened. I asked if he pressured her into sex, especially since the last time we spoke she described him as very persistent. She admitted she only said that because she didn't want to hurt me. She thought if she made it sound like she wasn't fully into it, I wouldn't think so poorly of her. She told that story to try to spare my feelings. I told her it actually made me more worried, that maybe something had happened against her will. She looked shocked and told me absolutely not, that she was the one who initiated it. I told her I didn't like that she lied, but I understood why she did it. I didn't think she did anything wrong by changing her mind about sex. Yes, it hurt to hear she was sleeping with someone else, but I had no right to judge. She's a single adult. Her choices are hers. I told her I didn't think less of her. She burst into tears and said something like, "I thought you must hate me now." I assured her that I didn't. She said she was sad things didn't work out between us, but she never would have broken her virginity vow if we hadn't ended things. After we broke up, she realized that the promise she made to her dad when she was a kid was no longer something she wanted to live by. So by the time she got serious with Tim, she had already decided she was ready for the right person. I asked about her dad, and she just said, "It doesn't need to know." I asked why she came back, why she wanted to get back together. Tim is older. He's 32, and he's been at the firm for 10 years. One day at work, another woman made a snide remark about Ellie being just another one of Tim's girls. That made her suspicious. She looked into it and found out Tim has a pattern. He's dated a long line of women at work, many of them younger grads like Ellie. The office rumor was that Ellie was just his next target. She was horrified. She confronted him and accused him of using her. They argued, and she ended it. Soon after, she came to me. She thought maybe we could try again, now that she was open to sex. But my hesitation and the time I took to think made her realize it wasn't the right move. That weekend, Tim asked her to try again. She agreed. She tried to call me, but I was out camping and didn't pick up, so she sent those texts instead. So that's where we are. I don't want her back, and she's in a relationship, so she doesn't want me back either. We chatted a bit about our families. She congratulated me on graduating from university. She asked if I'd been seeing anyone. I told her I'd just been focused on studying and working retail since exams, no time for dating. She laughed and said I'm still a big nerd. She said she hoped we could be friendly if we ever bumped into each other, but wanted to stay out of contact out of respect for her relationship with Tim. She wants to give it a real shot, and I get that. She gave me a hug, thanked me for understanding, and left. So that's that. Ellie dragged me into her relationship drama. I wish she hadn't, but at least it's resolved now. I'm glad I listened to my gut and took time to think. If I'd taken her back, it could have gotten really messy. The biggest thing I've learned is to trust my instincts. I still care about her, even after everything. She's dealing with a lot, between work gossip and this complicated relationship. I wish her well. I hope she finds happiness, with Tim or otherwise. She was my first love, and I'll probably always have warm memories of her. But I'm sure now, I don't want her back. That chapter of my life is closed, and I'm ready to move forward. Okay, this turned into an essay. My tutors at uni always told me I was too long-winded in my writing. Well, too bad. I'm not a student anymore. I can finally focus on my career without distractions. I've worked hard to get here. My new job starts Monday, and I'm excited to gain real-world experience in my field, not just theory. I'll be making decent money now, no more student budget struggles. And I've got graduation and May to look forward to. I'm open to meeting someone new someday, but that's not a priority. I'm not going to go looking. No Tinder, no casual hookups. I'm still a virgin, and I want something meaningful, not just sex. Like I said earlier, if the right woman comes along, great, but I'm not chasing that right now. Maybe that'll change later, but for now, my focus is on my career. As for Ellie's changes, I came to terms with our breakup months ago. When she came back, it stirred up some feelings, but looking back, it was more nostalgia than anything real. This whole mess was hers. I wish she hadn't pulled me into it. I didn't need to know about her flashy new boyfriend or their sex life. She's changed a lot. The Ellie I knew used to be incredibly honest, almost to a fault. The version I've seen lately isn't like that. That's what hurt the most. She lied, and it felt so out of character. But people change. She's in the business world now, surrounded by different values than the religious upbringing she had. Anyway, I've removed myself from her life. Whatever happens with her is her own business now. If she ever tries to come back, I'll remind her we agreed to stay apart and leave it at that. I'm not looking for a relationship right now. No Tinder, no hookups. I'm still waiting for something real. Like I said before, I'm open to love, but only if the right person comes along. As for closure, a lot of people in the comments seem to think that final talk was all for her benefit. Sure, it helped her get some peace, but it helped me too. Seeing who she's becoming made it 100% clear to me that we're not compatible anymore. She's changed a lot over the past year. Even before we broke up, I noticed a shift in her attitude once she started working. Little things like using phrases like work hard, play hard, and becoming less kind, more dismissive. Maybe she was influenced by her environment, but it was her choice to go along with that. I love the old Ellie, but I'm not sure I even like the new one. Still, I don't feel like she intruded. Honestly, I got the closure I needed. I feel at peace, and I can move forward with a clear conscience. We're done, for good, and she promised not to contact me again. If she ever does, I'll hold her to that. I can remind her of her own promise and finally shut the door. Update 2. If you remember from my earlier posts, my ex, Ellie, and I agreed to go no contact after some drama on her end. Based on advice from Reddit, I blocked her too, just to help stick to the plan. Since February, I've been working as a graduate engineer, and honestly, it's been everything I hoped for. I'm meeting brilliant people, learning a ton every day, and after years of being a broke student, it feels amazing to finally earn a salary. Having some cash in the bank and being able to eat out or do fun stuff is a total game changer. After I graduated in November, I moved in with my brother temporarily. He just split from his ex and needed help covering rent. That's where I was living the last time Ellie came by. Eventually, he found a new roommate, and since his place was too far from my job, I moved into a shared house in southeast Melbourne. The house is a bit rough around the edges, but for Melbourne's insane rental prices, it's decent. Plus, there are a ton of pubs, restaurants, and bars nearby. The location's great, and my housemates are even better. I'm dating someone now. I'll call her Olivia. She's actually my housemate's sister. We met at a barbecue we hosted when she dropped by. We hit it off instantly, and ended up talking for hours until everyone else had left. Her brother told us to shut up so he could sleep. It was hilarious. I asked her out that week, and we've been close ever since. Her brother, my housemate, has been giving us crap about it ever since. Lots of crude jokes when she stays over. Olivia and I made things official about 6 weeks ago, so it's still pretty new. But she's smart, gorgeous, confident, and the connection we have is just insane. We just click in every way. Olivia is an accountant at a big firm. Last month, one of her coworkers hosted a party and invited her to bring me along so I could meet some of her work friends. When we arrived, she introduced me to Jess, the host. There were about 40 or 50 people there, and I didn't know anyone besides Olivia. At one point, I went to grab more drinks from the kitchen. While I was there, a guy asked me to pass him a beer from the fridge. I introduced myself, and he said, "Hi, I'm Tim." We chatted briefly about our jobs and how he knew Jess. After a minute or two, I said it was nice meeting him and went back to the group. I didn't recognize him at the time, but later I realized that was Ellie's Tim. His job matched. He looked a bit older than most people there, and it all lined up. Neither of us mentioned Ellie during the conversation. Later, I asked Jess how she knew Tim, and she said they used to work together at the same firm where Ellie works. Jess had since moved to Olivia's company. Even in a city of 5 million, it's a small world. On the tram ride home, I was pretty quiet, and Olivia noticed. She asked me what was up, and I told her that Tim, the guy from the party, might be, or may have been my ex's boyfriend. I didn't think he recognized me, and if he did, he didn't say anything. That led to me opening up a little about my history with Ellie. Olivia's eyes went wide, and she said, "Wait, you never told me you were a virgin." Then she laughed and added, "Well, we fixed that." She asked if I still had any feelings for Ellie. I told her honestly no. I dealt with that months ago. More recently, Olivia invited me to a formal charity dinner. Her firm was sponsoring it, and she was excited to show me off. We were seated with a bunch of her coworkers. They were lovely people, and one of them even said, "So this is the guy. Olivia won't stop talking about you." That felt really good to hear. After dinner, a few of us were chatting when someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, and, surprise, it was Ellie. Tim was with her. It was surreal seeing her again. Tim said he remembered meeting me at the party, but hadn't realized I was that ex until just then. So clearly, she must have told him about me. Ellie looked completely different. She lost a lot of weight, was super slim, and had dyed her hair blonde, way different from her natural auburn. She wore a tight red dress and flashy jewelry that looked expensive, even to my clueless eye. She wasn't overweight before, but now she looked like a polished, rich girl. Not the poor pastor's daughter I remembered. Don't get me wrong, she looked amazing, but like a different person altogether. I know it was a formal event, and everyone was dressed up, but still, the transformation was wild. Despite all that, I felt absolutely nothing for her. Ellie told me how great it was to see me and held out her hand to show off a big diamond engagement ring. I don't know anything about diamonds, but it looked fancy. I congratulated them. Just then, Olivia walked up, so I introduced her to Ellie and Tim. Olivia casually put her arm around me, and Ellie's smile sort of froze. I didn't know what else to say, so I just told them I wished them all the best, and we walked away. Tim left, but Ellie stood there for a second, kind of awkward. Later, as we were leaving, Ellie was staring at us. Olivia noticed and said, "I think she still has a thing for you." I just said, "It doesn't matter." A few days ago, my brother messaged me. Ellie had stopped by his place, asking about me. And yes, Reddit, you were right. He didn't give her my new address. All he said was that I'd moved out. The next day, I got an email from a new address I didn't recognize. Yep, it was Ellie. No acknowledgement that she was breaking our no-contact agreement. No mention of stopping by my old place. The email said it was great seeing me again, that she missed me, and that Olivia was pretty. Then she asked how serious we were and said she and Tim had big wedding plans for next year and hoped I'd come. I was seriously annoyed. She went out of her way to make a new email just to bypass being blocked. She promised no contact, yet here she was again, trying to pull me back in her life. I showed Olivia the email, and she just rolled her eyes and asked me to think about why my ex would send that. Olivia's great at seeing through people, way better than I am. Ellie can't have me back. I'm in a committed relationship now, and she's engaged. And seriously, who goes to their ex's wedding? That would be insane. Whatever Ellie wants from me, emotional support, attention, drama, she's not getting it. She has family and friends. She doesn't need me. I deleted the email and blocked the address. Didn't respond. Ellie couldn't stick to her word, but I'm sticking to mine. I even set up a filter to auto-delete anything with her name in it. Olivia and I talked about it. I asked if she was worried, and she said no. Ellie didn't give her creepy vibes or anything. I'm just relieved none of this has freaked Olivia out or made her second-guess us. So yeah, nothing too wild happened, but you guys were right. Ellie couldn't help herself and broke no contact. The difference is, this time I handled it with zero drama. Honestly, life is amazing right now. I've got a great girlfriend, a fun place to live, and a job I love. Leaving Ellie behind was way easier than I expected. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss more real-life stories like this.